Hello and welcome to the First Blast. I'm Shazia and today we have for you another charged show. As you all may already know, the First Blast is all about creating awareness and getting you informed so that you can make those choices in your life to make a change for yourselves. Nobody else can make those changes for you.
Shazia is right. Hi, I'm Amina. Nice to have you back. Remember, the key about changing people around you is to change yourself first. No one's going to change for you, but if you change, they'll deal with you in your new way, and therefore you will bring about change in them. And this is what today's show is about. It's about change. Here at the First Blast, we've changed our format slightly, and although we've been doing one topic in the past, today we'll be covering more than one, and you are going to be the lucky owner of 2 or 3 or more sets of information today. Today we'll be looking at communication, perceptions of others, perceptions of ours, what communication is about, and some of the things that can affect it. We'll also be looking at hobbies, and hobbies that help us self-grow and empower ourselves to become bigger, better people. That's what we're about. That much used, much abused word, empowerment.
I love that word, Amina. I think in this day and age, we all really need to empower ourselves, especially here in Pakistan, where there's so many social restrictions and bounds and boundaries. So I hope you stay with us. We have lots more coming. Don't go away.
Communication, it's a two-way street, that much used, abused cliche. Again, we're so good at these, but it is. Communication is a two-way street. It's about us, how we project ourselves, and it's also about how other people perceive us. So if you have an issue with the way that you communicate, whether it is your mannerisms, whether it is stammering, stuttering, whether it's an inability to complete sentences, or whether your mind wanders too frequently and you don't get the message across, all of these are communication breakdowns, and they all need to be addressed and sorted out. Today we'll be focusing on stammering and stuttering. Are they the same? Are they different? Are they interchangeable? Well, we'll find out further on in the show. Aside from that, we're also going to be looking at some of people's perceptions of those that do stutter and stammer.
Yeah, Amina, you know, people can be quite cruel sometimes, and if you all have, maybe some of you haven't experienced this, but sometimes you're faced with somebody who does stammer, and you almost want to complete their sentence.
You become impatient.
Yeah.
You become impatient.
That's really unfair, actually, and I mean, it's unaware of you to be doing that, not only unaware, but it's impatient of you, and then you're not giving that person a chance to speak. And it puts them in a situation where they just have to take a little bit more time. So give them that time to speak. We have for you today a very brave and confident young woman who's going to come on the show and share her experience with her stammering with you. But before you meet her, we're going to take you to a short clip, which is a program she had enrolled herself in, and it's a clip in which you will get to see how she was before she took the program and how she is now. So have a look at this. This is from June 2006, and you will get to meet her very shortly.
Julia Nosher, Irani.
You include the zip code?
Yes, it's 07506. In graduate school, I had a computer lab manager position for 2 years. Prior to that, I offered like technical support to students and just odd jobs around campus. We had dogs at home the whole time I was growing up, but here I haven't had any.
Nisha's got to see that clip, and we hope you learned something from it, especially as the show continues, because we don't really have much awareness at all in Pakistan about this. In fact, we don't talk about such things, and that makes it harder for people who are going through this to really relate to it, because we can't relate to them as opposed to them not relating to us. They relate to us perfectly. We have Julia here with us today, and she's going to speak more about this.
Julia, thanks for being with us again. How long have you been stammering, stuttering? Is there a difference?
I've been stammering or stuttering, or both rather, all my life. As a brief explanation of what the difference might be, I think as per the dictionary, stammering is more repeating the entire word. So if I say, my name is Julia, that's stammering, and stuttering would be more, I didn't want to do this. Okay. And it's a sound rather than a word. I think stuttering is used more so in the United States and stammering everywhere else.
Does it make you feel a certain way when you are faced with a situation when you start to stammer or stutter?
I'd like to answer that question kind of before and after.
Okay.
My perceptions have changed over the past year. I'd say most of my life when I stammered, I'd feel a lot of embarrassment. I'd feel frustration. I'd feel built up anxiety and wanting to push through my words, push through the blocks, and feeling a lot of time pressure, feeling the urgency to speak instantly when somebody asked me a question, which is why answering the telephone was a personal nightmare. I would run to the bathroom every time the phone rang just so I wouldn't have to answer it.
So avoiding situations.
Situation sounds was my thing. People avoid people themselves. People avoid, for example, someone would walk the other way instead of crossing the street just so they wouldn't have to encounter a person and talk to them. I think I avoided situations more. Public speaking. I was unemployed for 13 months because I could not tackle phone interviews. They were just a nightmare. I couldn't say hello for a minute and a half or two, and in that time, in my mind, there is, oh God, here goes the interview. I'm not going to get the job. Oh my gosh, I can't say hello, and all these negative thoughts would just build up, and it would just make the matter worse.
It's not about being face-to-face or being on the phone where you can't see the person. That's not the issue at all.
I think it's a matter of negative experiences that are collected over the years. So if I've had a tough time on the phone and somebody hung up on me, or somebody says, sorry, I can't hear you, you're breaking up, and you're trying to say, wait, I'm stuttering, it's not a bad connection, or all these little feedbacks that you get, I think before I held them very personally, and now I've come to a point where I take that feedback as it's just a lack of awareness.
They're insensitive to it, maybe.
I think I would say that people mean well. I think if they know about it, they will respond better, which I found now. It was very difficult for me to talk about stammering in the past. I wouldn't even talk to my parents about it. It was a very emotional topic. And now I'm very open. I go around talking to everybody.
So what fundamental change brought that about? Because obviously there must have been a pivotal point when that change came about. It must have happened. What brought that on?
I think it was just at the point in my life that I was and the opportunity that came my way. I attended the McGuire program, which is a speech management program held by a group of stammerers. You're surrounded by people who stammer, and they're teaching you a technique that they've tried and tested on themselves. So I was more alert to hear what they had to say. And it's a strong technique. It's very simple. It's a breathing. But technique alone is not enough. And it has to be a holistic approach. So you need to break down those fears you've collected over time, where
just dealing with those hurdles, dealing with those emotional hurdles and coming to terms with them.
So it's an experiential process?
It's one of those things you have to constantly push yourself to do. Do the things you don't want to do, really. And then,
but that must be like a supercharged self-confidence, my ego is the biggest thing in the world, busting through type exercise when you do it. It must be an amazing sense of freedom. It's like getting rid of this huge burden when you finally cross that threshold. That's how I would see it, am I right?
Absolutely. And on this program, I think the biggest advantage was being around people who stammer, because growing up I felt very isolated. Didn't feel I had anyone.